Hello and welcome. Welcome to my next NAP. NAP stands for Nonprofit Auditor Points, and I'm your nonprofit auditor, Irina Oshkova. During the last NAP, we discussed a duty of care for the board members in nonprofits. During this video, I want to continue that discussion, but I'm going to discuss this second duty, which is also part of fiduciary duty, same as a duty of care, but we're going to talk about duty of loyalty. Duty of loyalty as important as duty of care. And each board member, as soon as that person joins board, needs to understand duty of loyalty, needs to exercise duty of loyalty. And duty of loyalty, it's just not about financial conflict, about ensuring but it's also about ensuring the personal, political, or ideological interests do not override the overall mission of the organization. Let's talk about it. What is duty of loyalty? Duty of loyalty means that every board member needs to act in the best interest of nonprofits. And it's very critical. Best interest meaning that when you're a board member, your personal interests don't exist. You become a nonprofit. Therefore, your only loyalty is nonprofit. Board members should avoid any personal gain, financials or otherwise, and any private agendas. And every board member, when exercising duty of loyalty, needs to protect the organization's mission above its personal beliefs, affiliation. Therefore, duty of loyalty applies to conflict of interest that can rise from financial aspect, from the political or philosophical. What it means, when we join board, we take mission of the board as our guidance, and we follow it regardless of our own beliefs. Core idea is that every board member is a fiduciary. What is fiduciary? It's a trusted person that encourage the mission of nonprofit. And then board member is a servant to that mission. And they serve public interest, not their own interest. The personal ideology, especially political ones, should not be part of that duty, and it's not. And if the nonprofits exercising any personal ideas, they risk losing sight of the organization mission. From real life examples, sometimes during the hard times, such as COVID or change in political atmosphere, nonprofits get carried away with the larger ideas as they believe, and they shift away from their main mission. If any board member begins advocating for the organizations to take action in political agenda, or become part of the resistance when a nonprofit mission is to help homeless, risking losing its not only vision, but maybe even fundings, maybe even board members, and overall health of the nonprofit might suffer because of ideology of one particular board member. Therefore, duty of loyalty is very critical for every board member to remember that every board member is there to serve public and the organization mission. Nonprofit organizations called public charity. They funded by public funds for the mission that nonprofit is manifested in their bylaws, in their articles of incorporation, and then other nonprofit documents, and the public supporting that nonprofit with the dollars and volunteers to promote this mission, not any other ideas or any other missions. World real consequences can happen to nonprofits that do not follow duty of lawyer. Political advocate, a board member for a hunger relief nonprofit, pushed for the organization to take a stand on immigration enforcement. This led to major funders' withdrawal, stating that nonprofit was losing its vision. It's a real life example. Rogue email, a board member sent a newsletter to a donor framing the organization as anti-administration without board approval. That email was shared online and sparked political backlash and jeopardized funding and partnerships of that nonprofit. Hijacking the agenda, a board member insisted on redirecting funding towards protest-related activities. Staff resigned, saying they no longer recognize the mission of the organization. Therefore, regardless of beautiful, noble causes and your personal ideas, not each board member needs to remember when you're a board member, you're here to serve the mission. Anything else should not be part of your board work. So what a good board member need to do to exercise duty of loyalty? Always ask anything that you do, always ask, does this serve a mission? What is the mission? What we're gonna do does it serve the mission? Keep your political or ideology separate from the board of decision. Again, whether we like it or not, our mission is the goal is the mission. Disclose any potential biases or connections. If nonprofit hiring the firm where you partner, consulting firm, and you as a board member, your job is at least to disclose the information and withdraw from voting when the board approves the working with that consulting firm. Each good board member needs to focus on how to best deliver on a non-profit core purpose. And then lastly, but very, very critical, respect the limits of non-profit public voice under rules of the IRS. Non-profits, public charities, can be very little involved in lobbying and specifically political activities. They're not allowed under laws and regulation. So the best thing board members can do, obey to laws and regulations. And how board members can do that you need to educate yourself. You need to hire a consultant. You need to, before nonprofit does anything, it needs to be educated. What board members should not do? Use nonprofit as a platform to push for better in the world. We're just for all good against all bad. That's not the job of a nonprofit. Definitely board members cannot push your personal ideas or political ideas. Organization priorities needs to be aligned with my personal belief. My personal belief as board members have nothing to do with the mission of the organization. Board members should not speak on behalf of nonprofit without a board and staff coordination and approval. Because I'm a board member, I should not assume that my view aligns with the view of all board. Frame the organization as partisan or activist, and it's not a mission driven. Nonprofits needs to be neutral, and again, be driven only by mission. And board members should not withhold or manipulate information to influence outcome based on ideology, any ideology. Remember, as a board members, we're here to serve public. Most likely nonprofit started because we serve underprivileged community and they do need to be our voices for the causes of our mission. And very often, conflict of interests, when we're discussing, it's applied to financial interests. And it's absolutely one of the largest conflict of interest can exist. When the board is hiring firms, one of other board members, when the board members paying another board member for the services, but also it could be ideological or reputational biases and loyalty. Therefore, each board member, each nonprofit have to have a conflict of interest policy, and based on our experience, pretty much all nonprofits do. But I'm not sure how often board members review this conflict of interest policy. And good conflict of interest policy needs to address not just financial issues, but they might be outside financials, like ideological, like sticking to the mission and not personal causes. Remember that political activities are not allowed under 501c3 status, which is given by Internal Revenue Services. Because nonprofits are exempt from taxation, they given this public charity status, and IRS requiring nonprofits not to engage in partisan politics. Nonprofits cannot endorse candidates, take sides in elections, framing issues in a way that they clearly align with one party or one platform. Crossing the lines can lead the nonprofits to lose its 501c3 status. They can lead to the IRS penalties, and nonprofit might actually start paying money on activities, and nonprofit can lose fundings. But however, nonprofits can advocate. They can have advocacy without losing the focus. How nonprofits can advocate? They must align their mission with and be non-partisan. If you mission, for example, house more homeless, you can advocate for more housing policy, right? So you can actually say, we're gonna work with the current administration, but we need area that's related to our mission, housing, to have these areas addressed. Final thoughts. Duty of loyalty, same as the duty of care, is very critical. And it's not easy to exercise because we're humans, but we need to be as bipartisan, as objective, as neutral as possible when we're given huge privilege to be a board member. We all can guard our job as a board member, be neutral. Remember, if our actions do serve mission, that remember that we are public representatives and we're spending money of the general public who donated money to that mission and to nothing else. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to me, and looking forward to see you in the next snap, where we're going to discuss another board of directors duty. Be safe, and thank you. Have a wonderful day.